If this is not the best setup you've ever saw in your life for setting up a new client, I do not know what is. Isn't that right, my boy? Anyway, hello and welcome to what is going to be a day in the life. This is actually the night before. This is the Thursday night. I'm filming this on Friday. But I'm going to make this a bit of like a run through of like coaching. Like a day in the life of coaching. Not going to do a full day of eating. I'm not going to talk through a certain session. I'm going to mainly focus this on coaching and everything I sort of have going on there. So I want to start this the night before because I have two new clients starting tomorrow. I have Colin and I have Deegan starting. And I'm currently sitting making their training programs right now. The rest of their sessions are done. I'm literally just, the rest of their setup, is done. It's just their training I have to finish. And I'm a good chunk of the way through. It is about 9 o'clock on the Thursday night. Do I like to be doing this at 9 o'clock on Thursday night? Not particularly, no. But is it a privilege to have two new people starting this week and last week? Very much so. So I'm getting it done. But so I've got like the last done. See this guy? He's so attention seeking. Look. What is it? See, attention seeker. Anyway, so I've got the last bits of their training to do. Then tomorrow morning I will record and send across their setup videos. So I want to just talk through their general setup, what they're doing with training and everything like that. So we have Colin starting, who is someone I've known in the gym for ages, and he trains like an animal. Like he's always in the gym. Somebody that you see no matter what time of day you're in it. Pretty much he trains 6 days a week and he trains twice on 5 of those days. That is between running and sort of lifting and sort of like high rocks work. So my biggest concern for him is that he overtrains, and that's the biggest thing I'm taking into account when making his programme. So what I'm doing here is, one, setting clear goals in terms of running. We're not just running without like a set target, a set pace to work to, a set even RPE to work to. Everything is very specific to make sure that he's recovering enough. And I don't want him doing loads and loads of high heart rate stuff. If he is training this often and running so much, I want plenty of zone 2 work and plenty of like long slow runs in there to make sure he's recovering properly and to not give his body an absolute beating. One thing I'm also cautious of is his lifting volume, and I'm keeping that to sort of a minimum just to again make sure he does not absolutely batter himself. Whereas Deegan, on the other hand, is just getting back into training. He's been in some really good nick before, and he's been out of training for a wee while, just like switching jobs, not had the time for it. So now what we're doing with his programme, he's training in a fantastic gym, Advanced Bodies in New Stevenson, which is like a proper old school bodybuilding gym, and has like some kit you will never see anywhere else. Proper hand-picked kit and stuff that like has no branding on it, has no nothing on it, and just feels amazing and looks about 100 years old. But so he's training in an amazing gym. So one is I've got loads of good options to play about with, and two is because he has been in good shape before and we know what works for him, we're literally taking what has previously worked for him and what got him in that shape before, and I'm adding my spin to it, and I'm sort of making any tweaks that I think will make that even more productive for him. And that is sort of my mindset behind setting up the both of these guys. Other than that, the rest of their setups are nice and simple, nothing overcomplicated. Colin also has some like run specific stuff in here. I've added a couple of like tempo sessions and things like that because he has a runner. Deegan, on the other hand, is just lifting, so nothing too fancy there. And then nutrition, nice and basic. Get both guys in a good habit of eating good clean whole foods 90% of the time, foods that they enjoy, and having meals that are both convenient for them within their price range. Obviously, we're not adding like, I don't know, steak every day or whatever. And also obviously they look forward to that being the big one. But that's the general gist of things. But I'm going to probably take me the best part of an hour to rattle through these, bedtime, and then tomorrow I will run through what I'm doing in terms of like setup videos. I've got a PT tomorrow, only one PT tomorrow. I've got like some lectures and some stuff to go through, and I've got a couple of other wee bits in terms of like training programs and all that. So I'll take you through that. Good morning and welcome to the actual day in life. It's like 7:30, 8:15 now, which is a real lie-in.
and I'm just out doing some steps, go at electrolytes, and then once I'm home, I'm going to get a coffee and then run through the setups of the programs I was making last night. So I'm going to record their setup videos. I've got a wee transformation to make of Nathan's photo shoot, which was the last video before this. I'll run you through, and then I'm not on the gym floor till 11, so I'll do some other wee bits and pieces in the meantime in there, but a couple of wee interesting bits and pieces to do today, so I thought it would be better than the usual full day of eating and all that type of stuff, or another breakdown of my pool workout, seeing as I always seem to film these on a Friday.
Setup video number 1 sent out for Colin. Everyone gets like a setup video, so a run through of the plan, and then everyone as well gets a run through of how I work, check-ins and everything like that. It's literally a video I send to every single client that sets up, breaks down your daily tracker, your weekly check-ins, when to weigh in, when to get pictures, all of that type of stuff, when and how to track nutrition if someone's new to it. So I send that across with every single person's plan, so they know the script basically, especially if someone's brand new, it's dead beneficial for them. So I always get that across. I'm just sending these to Colin now, and then I will film Deegan setup, send the exact same across, and then I'm actually PTing at 10, not 11. I said, asked Ronan if he wanted to come in earlier, since it's just one PT today. So once I send these across, pre-workout meal, because I will train straight after my PT, and then get a shower, get ready, get us a coffee on the way to the gym, and then we'll go from there. Setup videos are done. Like I said, I'm going to get my pre-workout meal and then get ready, go on PT. What I've also done here is make up the transformation for Nathan's photo shoot. I'm going to show you these wee comparisons now. I'm over the moon with this. I'm honestly so happy with the transformation here. If you've not saw the video of his shoot day, it's the previous one before this, and it is good, and everything we went through and it is solid, man, and it looks fantastic. So go back, give that a watch, and then I'll show you the wee comparison here. I'm over the moon with these, man. Back looks fantastic. That's probably my favourite shot for the full shoot. Looks sick. It is pre-PT and pre-workout meal time. Not going to go through Scran at all. I'm just making my cream of rice. And this because I'm going to film a full day of eating. Maybe tomorrow, actually, because leg day can get a good bit of stuff filmed on leg day. It's more interesting. But usual cream of rice patter. I'll go through all the quantities in the next full day of eating. But I'm going to Scran this now. I'm having the caramel biscuit cream of rice, which is meant to be like Biscoff flavour, which I showed you in that massive parcel in the last video. It's alright. See, the first time I had it, I was like, wow, this is literally like Biscoff spread. See, the more I've had it, I've been like, wow, this is actually incredibly mediocre. But I still think the best is the strong buttered pancake. Everyone I've spoke to who has had that as well has been like, wow, that is actually like top tier. And it is so good. As well as that, what I'm having is the, what's this thing called? Vanilla ice cream milkshake whey. Again, from that massive parcel in the last video. All of those flavours are very good. The one that's meant to be like Biscoff, it's like chocolate biscuit caramel milkshake thing, whatever it's called. They've all got really long names, is also class. Generally, they're all really good. But just Scran this now. Go get Ronan a coffee, into one PT, and then pull. Don't know, maybe film some of his session. Definitely won't film any of mine because that always seems to be the workout I end up filming. And PT's done. Did not film anything. Like I said, I'm going to keep this focused on coaching, what I got up to with my days at the moment in terms of coaching. Post-workout meal first. Probably going to have an off plan tonight. We're probably going to have dinner with Lily. No idea what we're going to have because she's at work. So post-workout meal, is a massive chicken salad. I usually have chicken rice. All I do is just remove the rice and add 2 bags of lettuce, like 200 grams of lettuce. I would rather overestimate what I'm going to have tonight and then need to eat extra later to account for it than underestimate and fuck it up and accidentally overeat when I don't really want to. So, big massive chicken salad covered in sweet chilli sauce, and then I'm going to get down at my desk for a couple of hours. I'm going to study, do some bits of my course. So Fridays are kind of like an admin day. I kind of use it to like tidy up any like loose ends for the week. So when I do my PTs, especially when online clients come in for an in-person session, is obviously I look at how they're training, the intensity, the accuracy, everything like that, and this obviously with one-to-one PTs as well. And then after that, like I just make notes, literally in the notes on my phone, and then I go and edit their training programs after. So I have 4 programs to edit. A couple of things, just changing stuff to people's preferences. Like, see if I have like seated hamstring curls in, someone feels a terrible connection with that, but they love lying hamstring curls, I'll change that over. That is literally the example that I have on my phone there. Just things like, if, say when someone first starts, I have their volume fairly high because they're not training that hard. As time goes on, as they're training harder, as they're training more accurately, I'll start to bring their sets down because they just don't need that extra volume. But all those wee bits and pieces, I'll sort of want to tidy up on a Friday after my week of PTs.
Absolutely massive chicken salad, 400 calories, actually less than that I think, and incredibly easy way to get a big meal in and save food for an off plan.
Right, this is not what I planned on filming next, but the other day when I was trying to make my food, my rice cooker just like cut out and started like smoking and shit, like it was as if it was about to blow up, right? So I ordered a new one off Amazon, just like 20-30 quid, same price as the other one, so I thought it'll be about the same size. This is actually like something a restaurant would use. Look at the size of that tub. That's like the size of my chest. That's ridiculous. That's a bit, I mean, see in fairness, right, I could put like a week's worth of rice in that. But like, that is literally 4 times the size than the one I had before. And I could cook 2 days worth of rice in that, so if anyone wants the rice prep for the next fortnight, feel free just to come up to my bit, do you know what I mean?
Right, so as I said, tweaking and editing some bits and pieces on workout programs right now. This is probably the biggest overhaul of like client training I've done in a while, mainly because I've had so many people in this week, like online clients and stuff, to take a look at their training, because next week I'm only in the gym half of the week. I finish, so it's Friday today, I finish next Thursday, before moving to be fully self-employed. So I can actually only PT until Tuesday because the way the monthly PT contract works. So I've had the vast majority of people in last week, or this week, sorry. So plenty of tweaks and plenty of wee bits and pieces to sort of edit and change in terms of people's training. But I do enjoy it, and it is always good getting my online clients in. One thing that is great that I will be able to do more of is that when I start in the new gym, because I won't have shifts, I'll have a lot more free time, get plenty more people in, get them training, get them moving, take a look at how they get on with things, how shit moves. And it's something that I think is massively important, because if you're anything like the vast majority of online clients, you probably don't like filming your sessions. Most people don't, especially if you're quite new to the gym and you're not somebody who's got bodybuilding goals or goals like that. You probably don't want to be filming shit, which is understandable, but that's why it's so beneficial to get in for a session, because there's so many bits and pieces you can look at in terms of training. And also, if you are someone who does film their training, you're not filming an entire session at once, which is obviously what we can do in person, is go through that full session. You don't just look at one set for the exercise, you look at every single set, including the warm-ups, so you get to see so much more and in so much more detail. But it is literally just wee small tweaks I'm making to people's programs. For example, like I said, going from like a seated to a lying leg curl, stuff like playing about with volume, just depending on how well the person's training.
and especially for people like Mark, for example, who I had on last night. He's only been on the team for a couple of weeks, and he's not really someone with loads of experience training, but he's actually getting on brilliantly, and his intensity and stuff like that was fantastic during these sessions, like night and day compared to the last time I saw him train 3 weeks ago. So I was actually able to pull his sets down. We don't need to be doing like 4 sets per exercise if you're training all the way to failure. So he was on like 3-4 sets every single exercise, and he was training fantastically. So I've literally just pulled everything back slightly, so he's in a much better position for it, which I'm more than happy with. While I sit and pull all these pictures up, I thought I would talk a bit more about Nathan's photo shoot and the sort of the process to get there. I spoke through it more in the last video, but I showed you his transformation at the beginning of this, so we may as well go through some bits and pieces and what we've done to get him there. So like I said before, this is actually the culmination of about 18 months worth of work. Initially, he was 83 kilos when he started with me in his original before picture. From that point, we spent like 12-16 weeks dieting. We got him down to 73, which was for going to Ibiza. Then at that point, we maintained where he was until he was on holiday, got back into the swing of things. There's absolutely no point in changing phase. See, if you come straight back on holiday when you've been so out of routine and the first thing you do is change everything up again, it's usually a rocky start to that phase, and it usually doesn't end too well. So what I like to do is just get back, first and foremost, get back into like your regular routine, into the sort of swing of things, and then from there, we make the changes we need to get us training and progressing the way we want to, and that's exactly what we did. We spent like 9-10 months pushing body weight up. We got him up to 80 kilos, taking his food for like 1,800 a day up to like 3,500. This then put him in like the perfect position to begin dieting from for this photo shoot prep, which was 16 weeks in total, I think. It was maybe slightly longer, actually, because we did have to move the day to shoot, but it was there or thereabouts anyway. So he was 80 kilos at the start of the prep. He had no cardio in throughout the full prep, just a bit of football here and there, and 10k steps a day. And we took his food for like starting the diet on like, I think 2,800, and that's when he was at 80 kilograms to 65 kilograms and on 1,600 calories a day, which is a big dig, man. It's a big dig, and it's hard going. Like, see the hunger, the tiredness that comes with being on that amount of food, and being there for a good couple of weeks is hard going, but fair play to Nathan because he handled it very, very well. Like, he handled it extremely well, so I'm over the moon with how he handled every single bit of this process, to be honest with you, because there's not many that could do that and sort of persevere through those really, really hard points of the phases, especially when shit's getting rough and food is that low. But the results sort of speak for themselves. 8 kilograms lighter than the previous diet phase, which is ridiculous, to be honest with you. I never actually thought he was going to be able to get anywhere near that light, to be honest, but he got there in the end, and we just kept digging, and he kept looking better. Abs kept looking more defined, everything like that. So it paid off massively, man. And the shape he got in is fantastic. Any shots I've maybe not shared, I'll put like on the screen during this, but it looks incredible, and I'm over the moon with the results there. But it's a long old process to get in that sort of shape. But I think the worst thing people do is try and rush it and try and like skip the hard push-ups and the long diets by trying to like crash diet and do it too quickly, or try to slam body weight on them by like stuffing their face far too fast. And in the end, you go year to year and diet to diet and nothing ever changes, and you always look exactly the same because you put the body fat on far too fast, you lose that responsiveness to your body, and you just get to a point where you're literally only gaining fat and training's hardly progressing. And then in the diet, it means you need to dig so much more than you probably initially thought you would. And it's gutting, man, and I get that for a lot of people. But see, if you're just able to dig in and commit to like one long push-up, the difference in your physique will be night and day. And like you can see with Nathan, the results absolutely speak for themselves. Literally, as I'm sitting messing about with all these transformations, the majority of them, even the ones where the diets have been nice and fast, maybe the diet's only been 8 weeks, 10 weeks to get the result, it's been a long phase that sort of went into that previously to get them to that position. And it's the exact same thing, like I've just spoke through with Nathan's transformation. You can't rush it. If any of these had been rushed, the transformation would be nowhere near what they actually were. It's been like 2.5 hours since that last clip. I finished off all that stuff I was doing, making up some transformations, bought the dog, and then like I said, I'm back down doing my course. I'm just about finished this course now, which has been class. I've been doing it since January, since about the end of January, maybe start of February to be fair. It's called Built for Coaches. I spoke about it in another video ages ago, I think. Can't really remember. And it's basically, it's like 50% like coaching skills, getting better at everything from like programming, nutrition, like working on stuff to do with mindset. There's actually loads and loads of stuff on like coaching skills in terms of helping people work and improve their mindsets. And then the other half is on like improving, what do you call it? It's whatever you do, improving the business side of things, and improving all that type of stuff. Which, although it doesn't seem like it would benefit the client side of things that much, I've found it has made a massive difference. See, just not coaching and taking on clients, not having a clue what you're doing with all that type of stuff. See, having like running yourself like a proper business, it makes everything so much smoother. And I think that just carries across to like the client side of things and like the service they get because of it. So I've got like a couple of wee videos to finish. I have like, and then I've got some stuff to fill out, and then I've got like one final call for the course, and then that'll be me sort of done and dusted, which is class. In fact, not to lie, I've got one other like wee module after this, and then that'll be me done and dusted. So I'm looking forward to getting this finished. It has been brilliant so far, and obviously I've took plenty away from it and applied plenty of it to my coaching. Sit and do this for like the next hour or two, and then that'll be me sitting my arse for the night, and then tomorrow I'm going to film a full day of eating, supplements, food, training, everything like that. Everything that goes into like a full day of eating, all the wee bits and pieces there, which should be pretty interesting. So I hope you've enjoyed this video because it's a bit different. It's more an insight into like the behind the scenes of coaching that isn't just like PTs and check-ins, the actual ins and outs that go into it in terms of like studying, setting up new clients, thought process behind programming, all that type of stuff. I think all that stuff's interesting. I like watching that stuff and finding out how other coaches do it. Maybe you watching it will, maybe you watching it won't. But I hope this has been enjoyable at least. And as always, any interest in coaching, any questions, fire away, let me know below. Or you can click the link in the description to go straight to my WhatsApp for coaching, or go over to my Instagram and go from there. But I appreciate anyone watching this long. And next video will be tomorrow's full day of eating.